So today we're diving into a text that really challenges the way most of us think about religion. It's called the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and, it makes this pretty radical claim that the way a lot of people practice religion is actually missing the entire point. So what is the real point according to this ancient text? Well, let's get into it.
Okay, so right off the bat, the Bhagavatam draws this really sharp line in the sand. It says, look, things like eating, sleeping, being afraid, mating, all living things do that. We share all of it with the animal kingdom. The one single thing that actually makes human life different, what makes it special, is this search for something more. That's what it calls religion or self-realization. And the argument is, without that, we're basically just really clever animals.
But just when you think you've got it, the text hits you with a curveball. It establishes religion as this key thing, and then immediately asks, why are we even doing it? And this is where it really starts to break down what it sees as a huge problem in our whole approach.
Yeah, it puts this question right to us. What's the real motivation behind what we call a religious life? And the text suggests that for a whole lot of people, especially in the early stages of civilization, the reasons are actually, well, they're pretty worldly.
You see, the text points out that so often religion is just treated like a tool. It's a means to an end. We do good deeds or follow rituals because we want some kind of material reward. Maybe it's for better finances, or really at the end of the day, it's just about finding better ways to enjoy life through our senses. From this point of view, religion isn't about some higher purpose. It's just a transaction to get ahead in the material world.
And here's the kicker, the real paradox. When religion is used like this as a tool for me to get mine, it doesn't lead to peace. No way. The text argues it actually makes the problem worse. It creates this world of keen competition, where it's person against person, community against community, and even nation against nation, all fighting over the same limited stuff. And all of this fighting, this constant struggle for an edge, according to the text, it's not just stressful. It has a direct and totally unavoidable consequence that affects every single one of us. The text actually gives this suffering a specific name. It calls it the tapa traya, or the threefold miseries. And it breaks it down really simply. First, you've got suffering that comes from your own mind and body. Anxiety, getting sick. Second, there's the suffering that other people cause us. Conflict, jealousy, you name it. And third, suffering from natural causes. Things we just can't control, like earthquakes or droughts. The text says these aren't just random bad luck. They're the direct result of living a life based on competition. So after painting this pretty grim picture of the human condition, the text then does a complete 180 and basically says, okay, now here's the answer. It presents itself as the solution. And this is where it makes a seriously bold claim. It says, this text, the Bhagavatam, it's totally different. It calls itself spotless because it's designed to reject any kind of religious activity that's motivated by getting stuff. It claims to be on a whole other level, completely beyond that dog-eat-dog framework we were just talking about. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The text basically declares that it's all you need. It's not just another book you read. It presents itself as a complete package for understanding the highest reality. A reality that can pull those threefold miseries out by the root because it tackles the cause, not just the symptoms.
All right, so how on earth does it claim to do that? This is where we get into the real engine of the whole thing, the core philosophy. Let's try and unpack the mechanism it's talking about.
Okay, so the text describes this journey of understanding. It says realizing the absolute truth happens in three main stages. At first, you might get this sense of a huge impersonal energy, a divine force everywhere. Then you can go a little deeper and realize what it calls the Paramatma feature. That's the supersoul, the idea of a divine presence inside every single thing. But the text says the final, most complete understanding is realizing the personal feature of the absolute truth, which it calls Bhagavan. So here it is. This is the central philosophical idea, and it's a bit of a mind bender. It all comes down to this one concept, that everything we see, all of creation, is the energy of the Lord. And that energy is simultaneously one with its source, but also different from it. Think about the sun and the sunshine. The sunshine is the sun's energy, right? But it's not the sun itself. In that way, they're one, but they're also different. And here is the payoff. The Bhagavatam claims that if you can really, truly grasp this one and different idea, it changes everything. Why? Because it completely flips your perspective. Suddenly, you stop seeing yourself as this isolated little being, fighting to control a piece of the world. Instead, you see yourself as a connected part of an absolute whole. And that shift in consciousness, it argues, is what instantly frees you from all the anxiety and struggle that caused suffering in the first place. So, if that kind of understanding is the key that unlocks the door, then what's the first step to get there? Well, the text is super clear about where you have to start.
And you know, the text is so specific here. It says the number one qualification isn't how smart you are, where you come from, or how much you know. It's just an attitude. It's all wrapped up in this one word, shushushu. It means having a sincere, almost urgent desire should just listen. That's it. That's the price of admission. It all starts with how we listen.
And the text is really honest about this part. It says the process itself, just hearing, is incredibly simple. Anyone can do it. But actually applying it, developing that genuine, humble desire to hear, that can be really, really hard, especially in a world that teaches us to always be on the defensive.
And this really drives the point home. If you come to this text with a challenging attitude, always looking for a fight or trying to pick it apart, the text says the real meaning will just stay hidden from you. The only key that works is what it calls submissive hearing, which just means being open, being willing to receive the message attentively without putting up a wall.
So what the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is offering is this powerful idea that a specific kind of knowledge, when you receive it in a specific way, can act like a direct medicine for the suffering baked into our lives. And that really leaves us with one final, pretty heavy question. If there's even a chance that's true, what's the real cost of being too proud or too busy or just too distracted to simply listen?